delighted to second my friend and ward colleague Henry Gallagher to be Lord Mayor. I've known Henry for over 40 years and campaigned for him when he first stood for the council in the old Manchester ward in 1982 against former Lord Mayor Benny Abrahams. Canvass said that delighted to second my friend and ward colleague Henry Gallagher to be Lord Mayor. He went to school in for over 40 years and campaigned for him when he first stood for the council in the old Manchester ward. And his first job was on the Youth Opportunities Programme at Lord Mayor for Gamble. He's had a very varied career. Canvass said delighted to second my friend and ward and a rather cool hair. He went to school and as we heard, he ended up at the ministry where he continued working in the centre of Manchester ward. And he first joined the Liberal Party at the age of 18 in 1978 and went on a very varied career. When he got married to Barbara 35 years ago and had as we heard, he ended up down the street where he continued working in the centre. He returned to campaign. He first joined the Liberal Party at the age of 18 in 1978. Went on a very varied career. When he got married to Barbara 35 years ago, his councillor had as we heard, he ended up down the street where he continued working boundary change. He returned to campaign. He first joined the Liberal Party at the age of 18 in 1978.
To do his best for the residents he represents. And I have to say, Henry's hotline rarely stops ringing. As we've heard, Henry's other passion is for football. He is a dedicated Newcastle supporter and a long-time season ticket holder. So the last year has been very memorable for him, attending the final and the victory celebrations. And I have to say, Henry has done a fantastic job in his role as Deputy Lord Mayor. As we've heard, Henry's other passion is for football. This year. He is a dedicated Newcastle supporter. He tells me that now when he goes to the pub with his friends, he feels he should be going around shaking hands with everyone. So the last year has been very memorable for him, attending the final and the victory celebrations. Just as amazing. And I have to say, Henry has done a fantastic job in his role as Deputy Lord Mayor. As we've heard, Henry's other passion is for football. He is a dedicated Newcastle supporter. Now when he goes to the pub with his friends, he feels he should be going around shaking hands with everyone. So the last year has been very memorable.
Councillor Robinson. I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city,
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last year
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the junior octave as Lord Mayor of the City for the forthcoming years.
Dedicated, he tells me that now when he belongs to the city, the last
I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the duly elected as Lord Mayor of the City for the fourth I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the duly elected as Lord Mayor of the City for the I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the duly elected as Lord Mayor of the City for I now formally declare Councillor Henry Gallagher to the duly elected as Lord Mayor of the City
Sure, this is probably a comfortable chair, but anyway. Right. Well, there you go. The mother, father, ya ben. My parents would be proud of me now, although I suspect my mum would probably say something like, "I'm very proud of you, Henry's son, but it's a pity you're not the Labour." That's what you think as well, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you, I'm calling you Lord Mayor, Councillor Higgins, for the year you've had. Can you thank your daughter for me as well? I passed across a few times, and she certainly helped you a lot on your junior year, and it was a great year, so thank you very much. Thanks to Karen and Wendy. For those younger members here who are confused by the phrase blind date, back in the day, your friends sort of worked like Tinder, you know. So, but anyway, but thank you both, not just for today, but for being my ward colleagues. I'm really glad you're my ward colleagues. We have a great time. I do get a bit grumpy at times, but, you know, it's really good. I've been fortunate in my time on the council to have always had good ward colleagues. I mean, we've got David here, and I think Dom's at the back. And I'm happy to say that our lovely former colleague Peter Leggett is represented here today by his dear wife Pauline and his son James. And I actually replaced Mike Cookson on the council. I mean, I've known Mike since the 70s. But he gave me loads of advice when I metaphorically stepped into his shoes, and he was immensely helpful in shaping the councillor I am today. So it's great that Dorry is here. Oh, and I suppose you too. But one thing I can tell is I know your dad would be very proud of you where you're sitting today. So I've got loads of friends here. There's two former council leaders here. I don't know what Lord Shipley's done wrong to actually be up in the public gallery, but there you go, never mind. I have political friends here, friends from work, a couple of friends from school. I mean, school? That must be nearly 20 years ago, lads. Well, you know, the other 30 maybe. My siblings, Jackie and Sean, are here with their family members, as is Brenda, who my dad married when I was in my late 20s, so I don't call her stepmother. So there you go. And because she and the rest of the family live in a really nice place in the Midlands, it's always good because we get a nice cheap holiday down there every now and then. Anyway, I mean, to you all, I'm just deeply honoured that you want to share this day with me, despite there not being a free bar. Now, I have a formal bit to do, which I have to name my charities, and there'll be charities that are familiar to you. I've chosen the People's Kitchen and Daft as a Brush. People's Kitchen, as you know, do loads of great work helping to feed homeless people, and Daft as a Brush takes a lot of the worry away from people who are undergoing treatment in hospital by organising all the transport for them. It's a pity either is needed, but sadly they are. So, please give generously any time. I ask you to stick your hand in your pocket. My Lady Mayoress is, of course, my long-suffering wife, Deborah, ably assisted from time to time by our daughter, Kate, as the Lord Mayor's companion. And by the way, when I told Deborah and Kate that I was thinking of trying to be Lord Mayor, Kate said, she said, does that mean I'll be the Princess of Newcastle? Now, I can check with our legal officer, but I'm not sure even the Lord Mayor has the right to confer such a title. No. But I'll tell you what, you can come with us to open the Hoppins, and we'll see if we can win you a tiara or something like that. Yeah. But I certainly won't say anything trite like, are you my princess, or anything like that, apart from just then. Anyway, finally, because I know the new sheriff, it's her bit next, and she's thinking, come on, get on with it. Finally, can I thank Council for giving me this huge honour. I'm really deeply touched. And can I say I look forward to working for you and the people of our city for the next year. Thank you very much. Oh, it's me. I'm chairing now, aren't I? Yes. Just prod me if I forget. Right, we'll now move on to item 2, to appoint a sheriff and deputy Lord Mayor for the municipal year 25-26. I can confirm that one nomination has been received, and I would like to call on Councillor Patterson. I'll talk slowly, George, as you walk towards the dais. Councillor Patterson, to move that Councillor Jackie Robinson be elected Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor for the ensuing municipal year. Councillor Patterson.
Well, thank you, Lord Mayor. And may I be the first to congratulate you on your ascendancy to the highest office.
Thanks, George.
I understand you're the first citizen of Newcastle upon Tyne, and your boss, your only boss, is King Charles III. Lord Mayor, it is an honour and a pleasure to propose my ward colleague, friend and confidant, Councillor Jackie Robinson, for the position of Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor for the ensuing municipal year. Jackie was elected as a City Councillor in 2014 and was a member of Wilson Parish Council since 2013. Jackie is Vice Chair of the latter. Jackie is also Vice Chair of Regulatory and Appeals, a member of the Lesson Committee and a member of the Job and Skills Scrutiny Panel. For 20 years plus, Jackie has been an active member of the GMB Trade Union, serving as a shop steward, the chair of the Northern Region of Equalities and Diversity, and holds diplomas in Employment Law and Equality Law. Also NVQ Assessor in Team Leading. As an ambassador for the City of Newcastle upon Tyne, I wish her well in the challenge ahead. I am confident Jackie will grow into the role. Thank you.
Can I now call on Councillor Hay to second?
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and can I begin by offering you my congratulations on your election, and I know you will bring dignity and good humour to the office, and I wish you every success for your year ahead as you represent our great city. And can I also acknowledge Councillor Higgins for his year in office as Lord Mayor and thank him for his work over the past 12 months. Lord Mayor, it is a genuine honour and a real privilege to second the nomination of my friend and ward colleague, Jackie Robinson, to be Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor of Newcastle. Jackie is many things: kind, caring, fiercely loyal, slightly terrifying, and incredibly loud. But above all, she is someone with deep integrity and a relentless dedication to the people she serves. Jackie was first elected to represent Woolsington Ward in 2014. and since 2018 has proudly served the residents of Kingston Park South and New Biggin Hall. And she hasn't just represented people, she's worked hard for them, alongside them, and always with their best interests at heart. She's a strong supporter of local organisations like D2 Youth Zone, the Garlafield Centre and Action for Children, all of which play a vital role in supporting young people and families in our communities. Jackie's commitment to these groups go well beyond words. She's there, she's involved, and she's always helping to make things happen. She's also an active and committed councillor who takes her responsibilities seriously, serving on several committees and external bodies, and always engaging thoughtfully in the business of the council. She cares deeply about what it means to be a city councillor and brings both passion and professionalism to every role she takes on. Jackie is a long-standing and passionate member of GMB, using her voice to fight for fairness and representation for those who too often go unheard. When it comes to speaking up, she's never backed away from the hard issues. She's been a strong and courageous advocate on domestic abuse, using her platform to call for action and change. Through her support for white ribbon campaigns and her wider work, she's made clear that silence is not an option. Beyond all of that, she's a parish councillor in Woolsington, a carer by profession, and a proud mum to grown-up children who know, as we do, how dedicated she is to making a difference. Jackie brings that same resilience and heart to everything she does on behalf of her community and our great city. Whether she's helping a resident, supporting a local project, or standing firm on principle, Jackie does it with quiet determination and a fierce sense of what is right. In this new role as Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor, I know Jackie will bring warmth, dignity, and the same unshakable commitment that has defined her time on this council. She embodies the very best of what it means to be a public servant. So it is with great pride, some fear, that I second Jackie's nomination to be Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor. I have no doubt that she will serve with honour, good humour and with heart. Thank you.
Well, Council, I therefore declare Councillor Jackie Robinson to be elected Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor of the City for the ensuing municipal year. Oops.
I, Jackie Robinson, having been elected Sheriff and Deputy Lord Mayor for the City of Newcastle upon Tyne, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties thereof, according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to be guided by the Newcastle City Council Code of Conduct in the performance of my functions in that office.
Would the new Sheriff like to say a few words?
I would like to congratulate you as well, Henry, for becoming Lord Mayor. And Rob, thank you for all the hard work you've done all year. And I do hope you do get to put your feet up now. I know you won't because you're always on the go. Right. I'd also say thank you to George and Alex for that. I nearly had a tear in my eye, Alex, and I'm not that fair. Please don't be fearful. And thanks for the council, all of you, for the election. I have appointed Councillor George Patterson as my companion. I would also like to thank my family for all your support and my friend Lillian at the back. And it's a shame that Sharon Patterson couldn't come because she's been a very good friend, confident all these years. Right, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Right, now we move on to item 3, which is a vote of thanks to the retiring Lord Mayor. First, can I call on Councillor Kilgour to propose a vote of thanks to the retiring Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'd like to thank my friend and colleague, the now former Lord Mayor, Councillor Rob Higgins, and his daughter Rachel, for their dedicated and committed service in representing this great city of ours as Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress over the past year. This year has been one of exceptional triumphs for the city. We all know that one of Rob's great loves is football, and how fitting that we've witnessed Newcastle United have possibly their best season in living memory during Rob's mayoral year, with the club not only winning their first domestic trophy for 70 years, but also qualifying for the Champions League for the second time in 3 years. And I know Rob will look forward to having the time to go to all of the away games as well as the home games now. The great outpouring of civic pride and togetherness that filled our streets during the club's trophy parade in March is something I know Rob was delighted to have experienced and to have been a part of. I was also delighted to see another one of Rob's great passions, rugby league, return to Newcastle during his mayoral year, with St James's Park hosting the 10th anniversary of the Super League's Magic Weekend. I know Rob enjoyed many thrilling moments and games across the weekend. I'm sorry I didn't understand all of the instructions you gave me, Rob, but I'm sure you will be lobbying me and others to ensure that the Magic Weekend returns for its 11th anniversary in the city next year. Beyond his love of sport, the people of Newcastle know Rob as a committed and dedicated representative of the residents of Benall and Scotswood. He served this community for 30 years now, having been first elected as Labour councillor in May 1995. How time flies, Rob. Rob knows the issues well across his ward and in Newcastle, and he's always been passionate about the environment and improving people's access to green spaces across the city. He has been actively involved in the Scotswood Natural Community Garden team, and I know he was delighted to have been part of the Scotswood Community Garden Summer Fun Day and the opening of Newcastle's Allotment and Garden Festival. Rob's always been interested in people, in their lives and in their stories. And I know during his time as Lord Mayor, Rob's favourite activity has been meeting so many fascinating and interesting people. He's always been incredibly welcoming to all of the school children that have had the chance to visit the Silver Gallery and the Civic Centre during his time in office. Just a couple of the highlights this year have included hosting the delegations from our sister cities from Bergen and Gelsenkirchen, along with the visits of representatives from across the world. In his professional life, Rob worked as a probation officer supporting offenders to start a new life again, and I know that this care and unwavering commitment to ensuring people get a second chance to start again and improve their lives runs at the heart of everything he does as a councillor and has been a theme throughout his time as our first citizen of this wonderful city. Throughout his year of office, Rob has maintained his commitment to his role as an elected representative, and I'd like to thank him for his continuing work serving on numerous committees this year. I know they're all roles he's diligent in, but I know that corporate parenting is a particular passion of his, and I'd like to thank Rob for his continuing work on that advisory committee. Through his care and compassion for residents and his hard work and diligence as both a councillor and Lord Mayor, Rob has always done what he can to help others and to improve lives and opportunities for the people of Newcastle. And I know that he'll continue in this vein when he retires to the back benches. So thank you, Rob. You've done this city and the people of Benwell and Scotswood proud. And finally, I'd like to end by congratulating our new Lord Mayor and our new Sheriff and wish them every success in the upcoming year in representing our fantastic city. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot I was chairing there. Totally just to prod me. Can I call on Councillor Ferguson to second the vote of thanks?
It gives me great pleasure to say thank you, Lord Mayor, for the first time to yourself, Henry, and can I just say congratulations to you and to the Sheriff for your appointment for the ensuing municipal year. I'm delighted, Chamber, to be able to second this vote of thanks to Councillor Higgins as the outgoing Lord Mayor, and there is not much as the one seconding that I would wish to add to what Councillor Kilgar has already said, other than to add three things. Firstly, I think we almost recognise that the circumstances in this chamber have been complicated and not always easy in the last year. And I want to place on record my thanks to Councillor Higgins for being a steady hand on the tiller as he steered us through, at times, some choppy council meetings. And I would absolutely acknowledge at this point that maybe sometimes that's been my fault. I would acknowledge that. But I think we almost place on record our thanks to you for steering us through that. Secondly, I just wanted to reflect on a point that Councillor Kilgar has already raised, that despite the duties of being Lord Mayor, you felt it very important, clearly, to continue your commitment to the work of being a councillor through the committees and through the business that this council must transact on an ongoing basis. And so, as the chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, I've been very grateful to you for all that you have done to support the scrutiny process, to engage with those committee meetings. Indeed, over the past few years, I feel thanks to you, I have learned much more than I ever thought possible about the concept of financial prudence in the concept of local government, because it is something that you return to time and time again at finance scrutiny. And I look forward to ongoing conversations on exactly what we mean by prudent financial decisions. And finally, I think we would all recognise that Rob doesn't make a contribution at a committee meeting or indeed at any available opportunity to speak about any of his passions, rugby league or the Scotswood Community Garden, to name but two. And so I thought it would be unreasonable for me not to mention them as well. Thank you, Rob.
Before I invite the retiring Lord Mayor to reply to the vote of thanks, I'd like to present him with this civic medal in recognition of his service.
Yes, after being in the high chair there for so long, I feel a bit hidden away down here, so I hope you can see me and hear me all right. And you'll also perhaps welcome the fact that I do intend to be mercifully brief. But first of all, I hope you can hear me okay. First of all, I'd just like to congratulate the incoming Lord Mayor and Sheriff for their appointment, and I'd also like to thank Councillor Kilgour and Councillor Ferguson for their very kind words. I really appreciated that. It's, I suppose, really at the risk of sounding a bit like an Oscars, I've got a few thanks that I'd like to express today. And first of all, I'd like to thank Brenda and Anne, who have kept me so well organised. We've had some very sort of wonderful conversations about organised. I'm not the most organised person in the world, and I think Brenda and Anne came to realise that. And so they've kept me so well organised throughout this year. And I think it's fair to say we've had our differences on occasions. I remember earlier on that I had a certain reluctance to wear the jabot. But what I learned then is, and this is advice to the Lord Mayor, is that Brenda always gets her way, so just remember that. But I think at the time I was a little bit sort of... I also know the history of the jabot, so afterwards in the Pandan room, if you want to know what the history of the jabot and what it means, I can actually tell you that. I also want to, just in reference to the council meetings, I think Councillor Ferguson there made reference to that, to my thanks to John and Linda, who have sat here today. And I always thought that as we have these kind of pre-meetings in the Lord Mayor's chambers before we come into the council chamber. And I don't know if many of you have seen that, it's one of my favourite series, Blackadder, when they're in the trench waiting to go over the top, waiting for the whistle. And I just felt sometimes that our meetings were a bit like that. We'd be huddled in there, we could hear the clamour from downstairs, and it was, right, are we ready to go yet, you know? And I guess the bell outside was our kind of whistle of going into the council chamber. But surprisingly, perhaps Councillor Ferguson, I actually enjoy it. I really do. I actually find that the robust nature of, and I will be returning to that robust debate, of course, in future meetings, is what democracy is all about. And at times people do get excited, you know, people do allow their emotions to run away with them, but generally I would say that I've actually, you know, it might not seem that way. I'm sure that the new Lord Mayor will learn to enjoy coming into this chamber and learn to, you know, sort of control the council meetings, because I really have found it a challenge that I've enjoyed doing. And when and the kind words about, I think, a steady hand on the tiller, to have a sort of maritime meta sort of, I think I take that as a real compliment, that I've tried to do that. I've also tried, I know that politics at times can be very partisan, but I've also tried to be even-handed across the council chamber with, you know, questions and comments. Hasn't always gone down terribly well with colleagues in my own group sometimes, but I've tried to do that. I've tried to actually make sure that everybody has a chance to have their say. I'd also like just to say a little thank you to my drivers, Ian and Norma. Not only are they my drivers, they're my alarm calls, because I'm not the best person. I always used to say at work that I don't actually start, my brain doesn't come alive till after about 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning. And a lot of the mayoral commitments were actually quite early in the day. So not only were they once they learned that I maybe struggled to get out of bed in the morning, not only were they my very efficient drivers, but they were also my alarm calls. They were alarm calls to get me out of bed, and did an absolutely marvellous job. And I just wanted to, I don't know how many of you know Ian Humphreys, but Ian, as well as being my driver, and I think somebody mentioned that I'd invited lots of young people into the council chamber, school groups, scout groups and things like that, because I thought it's very important that the next generation learn about how the council works, learn about democracy. And it was wonderful to have them in. School councils from primary schools and things like that. You know, I remember one excited little girl from Broadwood School when she'd been in for the meeting, and as she was leaving, she said, Mr. Mayor, that's the best school trip that I've ever been on. You know, it's just wonderful. So I think it was great to do that. But Ian is absolutely brilliant because of his experience as a scout leader. Is absolutely brilliant with young people, and he devised quizzes and he devised little games and things like that. And I can't thank Ian enough for the tremendous work that he did in helping me with those groups that came in. Just want to mention my highlight of the year, and it might be easy to say the Carabao Cup, but it's not actually the Carabao Cup. Although obviously I love the occasion and I share all the comments about our wonderful football team this evening. But the highlight to me was that I had a lot of little afternoon teas in the Lord Mayor's chambers, very quintessential English, you know, tea and cakes and things like that. And I made a point of inviting lots of volunteers from different groups in there. So we had volunteers from Search, volunteers from the Food Bank, volunteers from the Elders Council, volunteers from the Diversity Hub, which Councillor Ali helped with. And I sat down and I listened and talked to those people about the tremendous work that they do. And whilst, you know, we hear about it and we sort of acknowledge it in the council chamber, to actually talk to those people at a very personal level. And it was astonishing that they were saying how privileged they were to meet me. And I actually said to them, well, actually, the privilege is all mine to hear about the tremendous work that you do and the tremendous contribution that you make to the city. And in fact, I bumped into one of the food bank volunteers today on my way in. She was looking at me because obviously the last time she met me, she had the robes and chains on. So this person kind of staring at me very curiously and said, don't I know you? Don't I know you? And I said, well, tell me who you are. She said, I'm a volunteer at the food bank. I said, Lord Mayor? Ah, she said, the Lord Mayor. And she was telling me how much they'd enjoyed the visit and how much they really valued, not just the visit itself, but the fact that I had appreciated all the tremendous work that they do. So that was absolutely brilliant. I've been delighted to support, I've had 3 charities during my mayoral year, as you know, and I've supported them in different ways. I've not been one for raffles and, you know, bits of things like that, and I'm a bit too old to do sponsored runs and stuff like that. But the first one that I supported, of course, was the Search Project, which people may know about, wonderful project of which I'm delighted to be patron. And they put a bid into for what's called the King's Fund, and it's a national recognition of charities, not just local but national. And they came in the top 10. I actually wrote them a supporting letter. I spoke to the King's Fund, and they actually came in the top 10 nationally and got invited down to London, and they got £40,000 grant as well, and recognition through the King's Fund, and I was really delighted at that because they do a tremendous job. I donated numerous raffle prizes to the Scotswood Garden. Councillor Ferguson's right that I do mention it occasionally in passing. But I donated my prize from the Hoppings, I donated various things, and I'm aware that they raised hundreds of pounds through those donations. And the final one, my national charity that's very dear to my heart because I've lost friends with motor neurone disease, was the Motor Neurone Disease Association, and I went to visit their support group about a month ago, and they are doing the Great North Run. One of their volunteers is pushing somebody who's suffering from motor neurone disease around the Great North Run. I will be sponsoring them. I've given them a sponsorship, and I would urge anyone else who's looking for something to sponsor during the Great North Run to sponsor them as well, because they're a tremendous charity. So in conclusion, therefore, I'd just like to offer my heartfelt thanks to Council for giving me an immense honour. I feel actually quite emotional and privileged to serve as Lord Mayor for our wonderful city of Newcastle, and I've grown to love it so much. It's something that both I and my family will always treasure in the years ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, we'll now proceed with the rest of the annual meeting agenda as set out and move on to item 4. At this point, all of the guests have a choice. You can stay here and watch democracy in action, or it's just outside and to the left. The panding room is open where there are drinks and cream cakes and things like that. There is a bar, although I have to tell you, I have not put any money behind the bar. I said being Lord Mayor wouldn't change me, so I'm still the same tight what I ever was. So I mean, I presume you're all going to go, so we'll wait a few minutes and let everybody leave, and then we'll continue with the meeting. And I'll see you in about 20 minutes, hopefully. Hello.
All right, come across. Yeah, thank you. I did actually feel.
You got a motion in the end. What? Yeah. Who gags? Not one of them stayed. Okay. Item 4, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. We've had apologies from councillors Ashby, Byrne, Coles, Frew, Kingsland, Lambert, Lawson, Mafemba, PJ Morrissey, Musharraf, Stoker Walker, David Wood, Margaret Wood, Stephen Wood, Woodwick, and Wright. Thank you, Chair.
Are there any others? No? Okay, we'll now move on to item 5, appointment of leaders of the opposition and deputy leaders of the opposition groups. Council has asked to note the appointments of Councillor Ferguson and Councillor Lovett as leader and deputy leader of the Liberal Democrat group, Councillor Tracy Mitchell and Councillor Adam Mitchell as leader and deputy leader of the Newcastle Independence group, Councillor Hartley and Councillor Musharraf as leader and deputy leader of the Green Group, and Councillor Williams and Councillor Kemp of the East End and Associates Independence Group. Is that noted? Yes? Right. Before we move on to items 6, 7 and 8, I just wanted to make members aware that the process of allocating seats is currently now being reviewed, and so we'll be looking at this issue of appointments again in the very near future. So item 6, appointment of subcommittees, working groups, delegated subcommittees, boards and panels for 25-26. Can I call on Councillor Ellis to move the appointments?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'd move the appointments as set out in the papers.
Thank you. Can I call on Councillor Burns to second? Oh, okay. Do we have a seconder? Yes, Councillor Hay. Have your hand up first. Are the appointments agreed? Sorry? Oh, yes. Councillor Ferguson, your name was third on my bingo card of the first person to raise a point of order. Is that any better?
Did you say third, Lord Mayor?
Third.
Okay. This is not a point of order. I'm exercising my right to speak on this item, if that's okay. So if anyone is also keeping a bingo card on this one, it's not a point of order, just to be clear. Lord Mayor, I felt it incumbent just to stand briefly to say to Chamber that we often proceed through these items moved and seconded by the group whips of the largest two groups. And on this occasion, Councillor Burns has declined to second. You have, and I'm grateful to you, alluded to the fact that there is going to be a bit of work looking at the allocation of seats. Again, the Lib Dem group has raised some questions about the allocations and the political balance calculations. And so, regretfully, we do not feel in a position that we can support a schedule that is based on an incorrect calculation, but on the understanding that this will be resolved post-haste and ideally by the next meeting of Council, we will regretfully abstain.
Okay.
You can ask. Just ask her the appointments.
Yeah. Well, in that case, are the appointments agreed? No? Does that mean we need to move to a vote? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll move to a vote. Is there anyone who hasn't been able to vote? Yes, Councillor Stone. Okay. Okay. Councillor Mitchell. Sorry, Councillor Mitchell, what was your? Abstain. Yes. Councillor Donnelly. Abstain. Thank you. Councillor Robinson. Abstain. Councillor Burns. Abstain. Councillor Huddard. Abstain. Councillor Taylor. Abstain. Okay. And we'll go around this side. Where should we start? Councillor Greenhoff. Oh, sorry, you've let someone out. Oh, abstain. Councillor Greenhoff, sorry? Yes. Okay. Councillor Fairley. Yes. Oh, Councillor Higgins. Councillor Ali? Yes. Councillor Patterson? I can't quite see at the back there who we have. Oh, Councillor Stannis, sorry? Yes, okay. And, oh, yes, Steve? That's all right. Councillor Ellis? Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Chisholm? Councillor Shartwell, is it yes? Yes, yes is yes. Okay. Sorry? Oh, sorry, Councillor Keynes? Sorry, Councillor, I've forgotten your name. Qureshi, right, sorry. And that's a yes. Okay. So has everybody voted? Yes. Okay. So 30 yes, 29 abstain. Right, okay, those appointments are agreed. What's the next one? Oh, sorry. Sorry, yes. Appointment of representatives of the North East Combined Authority, Joint Authorities and Joint Committees for 2025-26, Schedule B. Can I call on Councillor Ellis to move the appointments? I'm happy for you to just shout from your chair if you want.
Thank you. It
has here Councillor Burns the second. Are you seconding? Sorry, yes. Right, okay. Are the appointments agreed? Yeah. Now on to item 8, appointment of representatives on other bodies for 25-26, Schedule C. Can I call on Councillor Ellis to move the report? Thank you. Councillor Burns the second. Thank you very much. Are the appointments agreed? Now on to item 9, exemption for attendance at council meetings. Could I call on Councillor Ellis to move the report? Call on Councillor Burns the second. Thank you. Does Council agree the recommendations of the report? Okay. Before we finish, we have one extra item of business. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record Council's thanks to John Softly. John is leaving us next week after almost 25 years on the Council and 13 years as monitoring officer and the main advisor to all of us councillors. During his 13 years as monitoring officer, John has only missed a couple of meetings, advising us here in the Council chamber for well over 100 meetings and advising and working with around 12 Lord Mayors. For the past few years, John has also been the monitoring officer for the North East Combined Authority, and that's where he'll be going to work full-time from the end of next week. On behalf of Council, I'd like to thank John for his wise advice over the years, and on behalf of all Council, I wish you all the best. And, of course, I may bump into you next season at the odd football match. Now your team has been promoted. So you never know. Would you like to say anything?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Lord Mayor, for your kind words. I'd also like to thank the outgoing Lord Mayor and all the other Lord Mayors I've worked with over the years for their support, as well, of course, to Linda and Brenda and other colleagues in Democratic Services. I feel like I'm echoing Councillor Higgins's comments, but it has been a huge privilege to have worked in this role for so many years, and I've very much enjoyed working with members from all across the chamber. Again, it may come as a surprise, but I will miss these City Council meetings greatly, and I wish everyone the very best for the future. Thank you very much, Lord Mayor.
Right, well that concludes the business of the annual meeting. The next meeting of the City Council will take place at 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 11th of June. As you know, this evening at 5 p.m, Terry Laybourne, MBE, will be presented with his award of Honorary Freedom of the City in the Banqueting Hall. You're all invited to attend. Can you please let Democratic Services know if you are planning to join me and the Sheriff? So thank you all. And, well, I was going to thank the guests, but they've all gone. Can I now ask you all to join myself and the Sheriff next door for late refreshments? And if you can keep the aisles clear until we get past, because, I really could do with one of those cakes. Thank you very much, Council.